Hendrick Motorsports makes history as they now have the most wins as a race team or organization, and we also see Kyle Larson dominate and win his second race of the 2021 season. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching the 2021 Coca-Cola 600, and I have to say that the race was alright, to be honest with you. It wasn't a fantastic race, but it was not the worst race of the year, but it wasn't the greatest race I've seen so far. But we saw domination tonight, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it. Before the green flag dropped today, Kurt Busch and BJ McLeod would have to go to the rear for unapproved adjustments. Kurt Busch was supposed to originally start, I believe, in the top 10, but he would have to go to the rear of the field for unapproved adjustments. We start the race off with the green flag, and Kyle Larson would take off really, really early and would basically hide and basically pull away. The first issue to race happened during the green flag pit stops was for Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain would have the hood up, apparently had an oil pump broke, and he would go to the garage and repair it, but he was able to come back on the racetrack. Meanwhile, a few laps later, Ryan Blaney, who was running, I believe, around the top 10, would have to pit, and unfortunately for a loose wheel, and this would take him out of contention race, because he's running around 10th or 15th anyways most of the race, but Ryan Blaney would have to pit again for a loose wheel. We keep going racing, and then we had the lead, and Kyle Larson pretty much dominate here, and he would come, actually Daniel Suarez would actually have a flat left front tire. He was running in the top 10 a majority, and they had a flat left right front tire, and then but he was able to come down here, no caution would come out, and coming off the final corner, Kyle Larson would dominate and win stage 1 here at the Coca-Cola 600. We go back racing on lap 103, and Kyle Larson would once again would win the race off pit road, and then Eric Jones also had a Lundgren issue for getting it stuck into the wheel. Kyle Larson would then once again take the race lead on the ensuing restart, and would basically pass for a little bit. Then Chase Elliott, who was a lot faster in the second stage at the beginning, because Larson was not as good on the short run, Chase Elliott was able to pass him and was able to keep the race lead. Then Kurt Busch, and then we'll talk about Kurt Busch right now. Kurt Busch had the same situation happen to Ross Chastain. Unfortunately, he would have issues, and he would have to go to the garage and fix the oil belt issue. And it was really unfortunate because Kurt Busch was having a very, very solid run, and unfortunately, he would fall out of contention for this race, unfortunately. Then green flag pit stops happened, and Kyle Larson's picker, like they have been up to that point, was lights out, and they were able to overshoot and pass Chase Elliott for the race lead and hang on to the race lead. Then we would go racing for a while, and then the next cautious race would come out for the first incident of the race that wasn't related to a stage. Will come out on lap 173 for Kurt Busch, who was coming back onto the racetrack, could just come back out on the track. He was on the apron of the track, and the engine let go, and unfortunately, that would bring the caution out in this race. Then we actually saw some strategy on that pit stop as well, where we saw guys like Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin, and Joey Logano. They decided to take 2 tires on the pit stop, while the rest of the field, like Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, they decided to take 4 tires on that pit stop, but it really wouldn't 100% pay out the factor because Alex Bowman had the race lead. He was able to keep the race lead. Then Denny Hamlin was able to pass, and a few laps later, Chase Elliott was able to get around all of them, and it was able to get the race lead there. And then eventually, Kyle Larson was able to basically pass Chase Elliott a few laps later, and he was able to come out the final corner and dominate and win stage 2 here at the Coca-Cola 600. We go back racing on lap 280 of the race with Kyle Larson being the race leader. He would dominate the next portion of this race. A few laps later in that restart, Christopher Bell would get into the wall. He was running near the top 10 in the race, and unfortunately, he would get a flat tire, and this would take him out of contention in this race. He pit 1 or 2 laps after, but he had to come down through to fix that. Then William Byron, his car started coming in, he was able to pass Larson. He was able to get the race lead. Hendrick was really, really strong. Then a few laps later, Kevin Harvick, I believe during the commercial break, Kevin Harvick was running 6 at a time. We have to come down pit road for a loose wheel. Now, he was able to make it onto the end on field, which was a good strategy in the day, but a loose wheel would take Kevin Harvick out of contention of winning this race. Then we would see the green flag pit stops happen once again with Kyle Larson. His second time, he was actually really running down William Byron at there. He lost like a second and a half due to lap traffic in the race, but Kyle Larson basically was starting to run William Byron down. He came down pit road, and once again, Kyle Larson beat William Byron off pit road because he was much better getting into the entrances, and his pit crew was lights out at the point. Then we see Kyle Larson would have the race lead, and then on lap 296 with 5 laps to go in stage number 3, Ryan Newman would get into the outside wall. He was having a very, very solid run. Ryan Newman would get into the outside wall, and he'd bring out the caution, and this would end stage 3 with Kyle Larson winning stage number 3. We would go back racing on lap 307 with Kyle Larson being the race leader, and then a few laps later, Joey Logano with about 80 laps to go would have to come down pit road to basically, with a tire going down, I think got into the outside wall, and he had a tire go down. Also, Eric Jones would have to come down pit road with a loose wheel problem. Then Martin Truex Jr. would lose a tire, and tire went down around 60 laps ago, and he had to come down pit road. He was really not having a good night, to be honest. But Martin Truex Jr. had to come down pit road from 12th position, and he would pit with around 60 laps to go in this race. And then we would have pit stops once again, with William Byron pitting from third, and everyone basically pit. And then Kyle Busch came down pit road, and then Kyle Larson was still able to maintain a lead. And he basically took off and had a 4 or 5 second lead by the end of this race, and he was able to get lead around 50 laps ago. And then the thing is that every time Kyle Larson has pretty much dominated these races, something stupid has happened, like a caution. And we saw a lot of stupidity from the lap cars tonight. I thought there was going to be some reference to that 52 car to 6-6 or the 53 tonight. They were causing a lot of problems in this race, and there were many, many laps down, and they're causing a lot of problems. So you thought that there maybe would be a chance with a caution. And we saw a really good battle at the end of the race between guys like Kyle Busch, William Byron, Chase were really battling really hard to try to finish runner-up in this race, but they would really fall back almost 10 seconds back by the end of the race, and you thought that there would be a caution, but not this time. Kyle Larson is able to pull out to a 10-second lead, and coming off the final corner, after 3 straight runner-up finishes and all the heartache he's had with only 1 win this year, Kyle Larson comes off the final corner and wins his second race of the 2021 season, leads like 327 to 320 laps, and also makes history as well by winning Hendrick's 269th race. First of all, Kyle Larson had the best car all night. I'm super, super pumped up that Kyle Larson won tonight. So many times this year, Kyle Larson has had the best car, and something gets away from him or something stupid happens. But the fact that finally, for the second time in a year, he is able to score a victory after all the crap that's happened. I know he hasn't won this year, but still, he should have more wins than he has had this year. But it's great to see Kyle Larson win. Also, let's talk about the history of this moment. Kendrick Motorsports has passed Petty Enterprises as the winningest team of all time. Just think about that. This core, the lineup that Hendrick Motorsports has right now, is super, super strong. You've got 6 wins coming for Hendrick Motorsports. The last 3 straight races, they have won. They've all been super, super good. You got 2 of the drivers now with 2 victories this year. You've got Kyle Larson, who's led 1,000 laps this year. They are all the dominant team. And yes, you've got guys like Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, who've also been super, super good. But the fact Hendrick Motorsports has been as lights out as they've been is really, really awesome today. And I'm so happy that Hendrick Motorsports has been good as they've been. And congratulations, Hendrick Motorsports, on making history. Let's go ahead and go through the results this race. So Kyle Larson dominates and wins. Chase Elliott finished second. Chase Elliott was the biggest competitor really most of the night to Kyle Larson. Looked like at the end of the race he was going to have a chance to catch Kyle Larson. But he got to those battles. But still, another really, really strong run. We talk about Chase Elliott. He's been kind of quiet at the start of the year, but he's been really coming on. His 7 top 5 of the year. He's really picking up in the summer, and he's having similar seasons to what Tony Stewart had when he was not as great at the beginning, and he won a lot of races at the beginning of the year, but as we got farther in the year, he wins a lot of races. Chase Elliott's starting to show that trend, and I think Chase Elliott's becoming stronger and stronger. Kyle Busch finished his third. Excellent run for Kyle Busch tonight. Was really, really fast. Ran in top 5 a majority of the night. He gets a really strong run in third place. William Byron, another top 5 run. A great run for William Byron tonight. He was another guy who really had a shot at Kyle Larson at points tonight, but didn't have a shot at the end of the race. Another great run for William Byron tonight. Alex Bowman with a solid top 5 run. Again, all 400 cars finishing in the top 5. Had Kyle Busch not finished in the top 5, finished in 5th instead of 3rd. Hendrick won it once again for the second time in the last 3 races. Would have got all 2 cars in the top 4. Great run for Alex Bowman tonight. He was kind of a one driver at the beginning of the race. It kind of fell back, but he always seems to get stronger as he get farther into the runs. And his car really, really got better in the run. He finished 5th. Great run for him tonight. Austin Dillon with a 6th place run. Great run for Austin Dillon tonight. He's been really solid this year, and he did really good in tonight's race. Denny Hamlin finished the 7th. He did better than most of the night. He really ran a lot of his race outside the top 10 and was really, really struggling early. But they made that car a lot better, and Denny Hamlin had a very solid finish at the end of the race. Chris Buescher, once again, another solid top run. He's been really, really good this year so far. He's been really, really consistent. Got a lot of points tonight, and he finished in 8th. Great run for Chris Buescher tonight. Tyler Reddick, once again, with another solid top 10. He ran in the top 10 a lot of this race, pretty much majority of this race. Never really ran outside the top 10. Had a fantastic run, and he gets a 9th place finish tonight. And Kevin Harvick, despite, having the loose wheel issues that he had tonight, he finished 10th in tonight's race. An excellent run tonight for Kevin Harvick. He put up together a very solid performance in tonight's race. Great run for Kevin Harvick, despite, having a loose wheel. He finishes in the top 10. Brad Keselowski finished 11th. To be honest, Brad Keselowski kind of struggled most of the night. He was really running a lot of races outside the top 15, but he recovered to a top 11. Great run for him. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., great run for him tonight as well. You know, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is really good historically at Charlotte. Great run. He finishes 12th in tonight's race. Ryan Blaney recovers solidly after having a loose wheel and also speeding on pit road. Finishes 13th. Bubba Wallace finishes 14th, but he honestly deserved a better finish than he got tonight. Bubba Wallace was running a lot of this race inside the top 10. He never really fell outside the top 15, was really, really consistent. I think 23-11 is going to start showing a lot more of what they got. I know Bubba Wallace has been off this year to start off, but I do think that Bubba Wallace, as the season is going to go on, I think that Bubba Wallace is going to continue to be really, really strong. And I think Bubba Wallace is going to continue to have a lot of great runs going forward. Solid run for Bubba Wallace. He finished 14th. Daniel Suarez, he finished 2 laps down at 15th. Great recovery for Daniel Suarez tonight. You know, Daniel Suarez was running in the top 10 a lot of the early portion of this race. And I think Daniel Suarez could have at least had a shot for top 10 had that issue not happened for the flat tire. But he recovers to top 15. Again, another solid showing for Trackhouse. And great showings for 23-11 and Trackhouse, by the way. Eric Jones finished in the top 20. Solid run for Eric Jones tonight. 17th place finish, Joey Logano. Joey Logano absolutely struggled in tonight's race. He was really not that fast. Finished at 17th in tonight's race. Matthew D finishes 18th. Not too bad. Corey LaJoie with a solid top 20 run. Great run for Corey LaJoie tonight. And Michael McDowell with another top 21 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Cole Custer finishes 21st, 22nd place for Eric Almirola. Not a great night for Eric Almirola, to be honest. Again, Eric Almirola has absolutely been struggling this year. Chase Briscoe finishes 23rd. Christopher Bell, after his issues, he finishes 24th. Anthony Alfredo finishes 25th. Brian Priest finishes 26th. Ryan Newman finishes 27th. Jeff Stanley finishes 28th. Mark Truex Jr. finished 29th, but Mark Truex Jr. absolutely was off tonight. It was really, really slow. Had no speed in the car. The handling was really, really bad on Truex. I expected Truex to run a lot better than he did tonight. He absolutely sucked. He absolutely struggled. They've been kind of falling off the last few races, and I hope Truex and them can start recovering as we get farther into the year, because Mark Truex Jr. I thought was going to run a lot better and be a contender against Kyle Larson, but he really did not do that fantastic. He finished 29th in tonight's race. Cody Ware finishes 30th, 31st place finish for BJ McCott, 32nd place finish for Quinn Alf, 33rd place finish for James Davison, 34th for Garrett Smithley, 35th place finish for Josh Wilkie, 36th place finish for David Starr, 37th place finisher Ross Chastain, and Kurt Busch finishes in 38th and last place in tonight's race. So anyway, let's go ahead and overall talk about some things from this race that really were not as important, but we're going to talk about the coverage tonight. Fox did an absolutely bad job in tonight's broadcast. There were points they were making a lot of stupid mistakes. There were so many commercial breaks in this race. The Indy 500 today that Julio Castroneves run, huge congratulations to him on winning. I was really happy that Julio won his 4th ever Indianapolis 500. But man, the broadcasts in IndyCar and F1 are so much better than the broadcasts in NASCAR. And it's getting really irritating and really frustrating to see that they have commercials 10 laps in their race. They had over 20 commercial breaks tonight. And these were not side-by-side commercials, by the way. There was almost a quarter of this race, a little more than a quarter of this race, that was under commercial, and that's absolutely ridiculous. I think that's a little ridiculous, and they should not be having as many commercial breaks as they had. That's just my honest opinion on that. But now let's talk about the race overall. The race overall was not fantastic. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's really cool to see Hendrick Motorsports in history. I'm really, really happy that Kyle Larson won tonight. It was great to see that Hendrick Motorsports got their 269th victory. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, there were points of the race was solid in my opinion, but it wasn't overall a fantastic race. This is not the worst race so far of 2021, but I still expect a little bit more from a race like this. And, you know, it's a little frustrating that a race sometimes can be dominated like this. I love domination of points. Again, I would rather have a domination in 750 horsepower package than the 550 horsepower package. But Kyle Larson had just a fantastic car overall, and he pulled out to a 10-second lead. I know a lot of people are going to look at it and say, oh, it's a bad race. But I didn't think it was a fantastic race overall, but it was really, really cool overall to see it. That being said, it was really cool to see Larson, but that being said, I think that I'm going to give this race overall a 5.5 out of 10. It wasn't the worst race of the year, like I mentioned, but I expect a little bit more. And honestly, I would say that this race was not a fantastic race overall. But it's how the Coca-Cola 600 plays out. It's such a long race, too, but don't affect this race. This race needs to be, and by the way, it's a 4-hour race overall, much shorter than previous races. The race was actually pretty fast-paced, considering all the other Coke 600s we've had in the past. This is actually a much faster pace of a Coke 600. So that is my score of tonight's race in this year's Coca-Cola 600. So anyway, that is going to be for tonight's race review from the Coca-Cola 600. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notification on CB notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below for that, and comment your thoughts on tonight's Coca-Cola 600. What are your thoughts on tonight's Coca-Cola 600? Let me know in the comments below. And congratulate Kyle Larson on winning tonight's Coke 600, and congratulate Rick Hendrick on winning his 269th career race as an organization. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some great and awesome NASCAR content. Take care, everybody.